Greetings everyone, I'm History Dude and thank you for joining me on our journey through time. Today I'll be sharing with you yet another heartbreaking atrocity against the natives. One that is still occurring to this day and not much is being said about it except for the natives themselves creating awareness to the rest of the world. I'm talking about the missing and murdered Indigenous women of North America. The MMIWG movement started in Canada, where thousands of women and girls from First Nations families disappeared or were murdered in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Many might say these numbers aren't very much compared to other races that get murdered or go missing every day, but in context, Native American women only make up 4% of the population in Canada and only 1.1% in the United States. First, we're going to look at some of the statistics from Canada. On March 31st, 2010, the Native Women's Association of Canada had documented 582 cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women. Fast forward to 2013, the University of Ottawa doctoral researcher Marianne Pierce indicated the number may be as high as 824. Later, a 2014 Royal Canadian Mounted Police report suggests the actual number is actually higher than reporting. 1,181 cases were clocked between 1980 and 2012. During that same time period, Indigenous women and girls comprised of 16% of the female homicide victims, despite accounting for only 4% of Canada's female population. Canada's troubles also include dozens of Indigenous women that go missing along what's called the Highway of Tears. It's an isolated 450-mile stretch of road in British Columbia that many people from adjacent First Nation communities travel by hitchhiking. We all know that hitchhiking is dangerous, but along Highway 16, poverty means low rates of car ownership and mobility. They have little choice. Some people hitchhike long distances to visit family or go to work or school. This makes Indigenous women in the area especially vulnerable to predators. Next up is the United States. In the U.S., Indigenous women are the victims of violence at alarming high rates. In addition, they are murdered at rates that significantly exceed the American national average. Despite only making up an estimated 1% of the total U.S. population, these women are murdered at a rate that is more than 10 times the national average. Among them, homicide is the third leading cause of death for women and girls between the ages of 10 and 24 years, and the fifth leading cause of death for women aged 25 to 34. Although there is a scarcity of recent literature on violence against Indigenous people, prior studies indicate that over 80% of Indigenous women have experienced some form of violence in their lifetime, including assault, domestic violence, rape, and murder. Their voices are unheard, lost in the sea of other injustices. They are forgotten about just as the natives have been since colonization. How you can help? Wear red on May 5th and post a photo onto social media with the hashtag National Day of Awareness, hashtag MMNWG, or hashtag MMIW. Safely attend an event, prayer circle, or candlelight vigil hosted in your community if any are taking place. Post a list of women missing from your community. And lastly, be proactive in spreading the word about the gravity of the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. This pressing issue will only improve as awareness spreads, communities come together, and action is taken. I hope you found this tragic video informative. If you have, please help spread awareness to others about the ongoing crisis by supporting the fight against these heinous crimes against Native and Indigenous women. If you like, leave me a comment on your thoughts. I'm your local historian, and that's history, dude.